Alrighty folks, this is Lurch from Ireland Gaming and welcome back to another episode of From the Depths. Today we are going to be talking about fleet supply and logistic groups, because I've recently worked out sort of how to do them properly thanks to a couple of great comments. Now, we're going to get straight into it, and I do most of this stuff from the E menu. First off, you can press R to bring up all of the localized resource information here, and you'll see I have 4 outposts set up, all conveniently named, and they're all in their own individual resource group. The first thing you want to remember about localized resources is you'll see these are the bars that indicate how much resources of each thing you have. You'll see this one here is empty, and whenever ships are in the same resource group, as you'll see when I click this, they will all share and balance their resources equally between them. Now, if I was to take this guy and tell him to keep a very small amount of his resources, he'll distribute the rest between everyone else, and they will share it equally between each and every other ship. If you have no settings, like we have for example on fuel here, and we give the priority to something else, it should take all of the fuel from this and put it in here. Unfortunately, this is actually full at the minute, so I don't have any way of demonstrating this. But if you have a priority set up and something else has no settings, this counts as keep no resources at all. So it counts as if you don't want to keep anything. But if it's unset, it will also share evenly with things that are also unset. So it's basically like having it in the same setting. So one thing to remember about setting up fleet supply is to make sure that your things are not in the same supply group. For now, we want these guys all in the same supply group, and we want them all to be set the same thing, so that everyone can have a nice equal dish out on their resources. Now, let us set up a give and take for these guys here, and set up the actual supply fleet. Now, a fleet has to be in its own unique fleet. You can't use the supply groups thing to set between ships within a fleet. It has to be 2 separate fleets, so these are actually completely separate. So let's go to Outpost 1 here, and we want to give resources to Outpost 2. So we bring this little button here up, and this is the fleet supply button beside the skull. Don't click the skull. And we want to give our resources to Outpost 2. So there's Outpost 2 in the middle, and we want to give to. And what this will do is take all of our resources here and give to the other guy. Now, the problem here is we are set to keep all of our resources. We don't want to keep all of our resources, we want to give it all away. So we're going to have to set this guy to hold nothing. And all of a sudden, he's just dumped all of his resources over to this guy. Now, we can take this setting off as well. And now, he's set to keep nothing. So if we just balance these out again quickly, these should balance because they're on the same setting, and take them off the supply group again. Now this time, this guy's not feeding into the other outpost because he's set to keep absolutely nothing. And because he's set to take nothing, then this guy can't push it in there. He can't, dump the resources in, even though he's set to give it to. And this is why we have the lovely force feed button. Now, if you click the force feed, this will ignore whatever settings this guy has, which is great. And he's going to just push it in there regardless of what it is, and it's a great way of forcing your transit fleets to just get rid of all of their resources, dump everything that they don't need, and get it into wherever that needs to go. Now, we also have the option to take from other ships, and that's from this side. And if we take from Outpost 2 here, it will cancel our give to option, but it means we can take our stuff back. And you'll see it's already lifted absolutely everything there, regardless of what the settings are. So even though this guy's set to keep nothing, he is set to take from this guy, and he's going to take absolutely everything he can and dump it into his resource holds. So that's great. So we now know how to take from a ship and to give to a ship. So let's set up a quick little roundabout, and I'm going to balance all of these out quickly again. Oops. I just select everything, Come on. There we go. And we want to put everyone on the same settings. We actually want them all to have 0 and set them to 1. This will balance everything nicely out between all of our ships, so they all have exactly the same amount. And then we want to take them off the same supply group again. So we want to go to number 1, and we'll set up a wee roundabout here. We want to take from number 4, which is this guy down here, if you can see behind. We want to take from him, and we want to give to outpost 2, and we want to force feed it to outpost 2. So he should take everything from here and give it to here. Come on. Actually, we don't need to take from. We can just force feed it in. So this guy's already dumped everything. What have I done here? Ah, that's why. That's outpost 4, not that one. I was completely confused there for a second. Okay. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. It's taken from outpost 4, which is number 4 here. It's taken it all and then it's pushed it all into outpost 2. So let's set up outpost 2 now. It's pulling from outpost 1. Well, it wants to pull from outpost 1, so we'll take from outpost 1 and we want to push it to outpost 3. And now that will dump it all in here. So outpost 3 has all of its stuff now. Next we want to, the same again, take from outpost 2 and we want to give to outpost 4 this time. And now we have everything going round and round and round. But this guy isn't forcing into outpost 4 now. Or outpost 1 again. So this is number 4. We want to take from outpost 3 and force it into outpost 1 again. Now you don't actually need to do the take from for these because they're pushing. But if you're using a normal fleet, and I'm going to demonstrate that now, you'll see everything starting to go round and round and round and round in circles. You can see the little lines denoting where everything's going. Very cool. But I'm going to show you a more practical example. This is not really very useful. But let's set up a quick practical example with a little outpost with some resources on it. Maybe a second stopping outpost for getting a little bit more resources, and then a barge or something that we want to dump our resources onto now, next at the end. So I'm going to set that up quickly and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's a quick setup. I have 2 outposts here. For example, these are going to be our resource outposts. They're just generating resources, and this one's generating resources, but we want to make a stop and use only one transport vessel to stop here, then go to this guy to dump all of our resources off, and then go back again and start the whole thing again. And we can do that with the patrol system. Now, to set this up, we don't really want to go for take, because I have this guy set up, and I often use the fetchers for pushing resources to fleets and stuff like that, and I often change these settings. So rather than using the take command, as we see here, take from, we're not going to bother. The only thing we want to worry about on this guy is to give to outpost 3. We want to just force feed that to him. As much as possible, just get rid of all of the resources, give it all to this guy. Now, to fill up the fetcher, we want to go to one of our outposts. So this is outpost number 1, this is our resource gatherer, and we want to give it all to the fetcher. And we have to do exactly the same for number 2. And we have outpost 2, and we want to give to the fetcher, and we'll force feed that into. I did set force feed on the other one, right? I did. Good. Now, that means that whenever this guy comes into range, and we should be able to see the, there's our little circles. This is the range of the localized resources. It's about 1 kilometer. It's actually a nice wee way of getting a sort of distance gauge. So that's 2 kilometers there. It's a 1 kilometer radius. So this guy needs to get sort of anywhere within this boundary, and he'll be able to transfer resources between him and the outpost. So if we hold the shift button and right click, that will send a move order, and that will put him in range of this outpost to get his stuff. Then we want to press shift again, or maintain shift and right click again, and that gives him a second order. So that will get him in here. He'll chew up his resources now, and we should see them coming in now. Yeah, he's already lifted them, and now he's going to stop here, and as soon as he gets within that boundary, he'll lift his resources there too. There we go. Now, turn that off. We want to go anywhere within this boundary, and we keep holding shift and right click again, and that allows us to queue movement orders. Now because he's reached them in the time, they've disappeared on me. But if we could click a circle of these, so we've got into the area, and these are going to transfer now, and you'll see he's going to dump everything he has now into this little thing. No, he's not. Why is he not? Give to outpost 3. Why are you not giving to outpost 3? You are designed to give to outpost 3. Why are you not giving to outpost 3? Okay. Ah. This is why. Interesting problem. Yes, you can't force feed stuff that you're designed to keep. So, I'm actually glad I ran into this problem, because it would confuse the bejesus out of everyone else as well. I want to set this to keep nothing. Keep not a damn thing. Because otherwise, this fetcher's going to try and hold on to 20% of the resources for himself. And we don't really want that. He's a cargo vessel. So you have to set this to keep nothing. Now if you have this set to nothing, like no settings at all, it will work absolutely fine, because it's the equivalent of having it set to keep no resources. But that's a really important thing, bear that in mind. Another very important thing to note is never have them in the same supply group. I cannot stress that enough. This confused the bejesus out of me before, because you see here, if I put these guys in the same supply group, they'll just share resources. And he wanders into the zone, and then they start sharing stuff. So they balance out, and then he wanders off again with half of the resources that he really needs. So we'll take those guys out of the same supply group again. But anyway, sorry, patrol routes. Yes, this is important. Right, I was saying with the hold shift and right click. So we're up here again, and we want to go back down to here, and then to here, and then to here again. So rather than going through all of these zones, let's go out here, shift right click, shift right click, shift right click, and shift right click. And now we've got almost a full path. To complete the patrol though, we need to go back to the start again and shift right click again here. And you'll see everything joins up now. Now what'll happen, and we'll pull all here and just speed it up, and we'll see, he'll go to there and it'll reset the waypoints. And round and round and round he goes. And if I had set this up in a resource area, you'd see he'd be collecting a little bit of resources every time, bringing it on, and dumping it off in the relevant area. You see he's actually sapping some fuel on the way past there from these guys. So he's still getting his resources from these. But yeah, that's how you set up localized resources, that's how you set up transit fleets. I'm sure I've missed something, but I do hope that I've explained it well enough that you get a rough idea what's actually going on. Because it is quite convoluted. I would absolutely adore a way to just get rid of these settings, because as far as I can tell, there is absolutely no way of actually unsetting these. You know, you have this little button here that gets rid of the supply group. I want another button like this that gets rid of these too. Even if only to tidy the bloody menu up, because, you know, having them set to a priority can really lead to some problems whenever you're working your fleets out. And it'd be just nice to be able to clear this and not have to worry about it. But anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the episode. Any likes, subs or comments are really, really awesome. I love hearing from you guys, and I read every single comment. As always, take it handy and have a bloody good day.